Most people think retirement is supposed to feel like a reward. Then the rent hits, the groceries hit, the pharmacy hits. Suddenly your golden years feel like a monthly cage match with your bank account. But here's the secret nobody tells you. There are still cities in America where Social Security doesn't mean survival mode. Real places, real homes, real peace. Today we're counting down the 15 most affordable US cities to retire, starting with the ones that barely make the cut and climbing all the way to the best deal in the country. Some will surprise you. One might save your entire retirement, and a few might quietly ruin your budget if you're not careful. Las Vegas, Nevada. Vegas looks like a terrible retirement idea. Neon, slot machines, regret, but somehow it sneaks onto the list. Let's hit the numbers first. For homeowners, the monthly cost of living after Social Security sits around $2,089. For renters, about $1,203. That already tells you the story. Vegas is affordable only if you rent smart and behave like an adult. And that second part is doing a lot of heavy lifting. But here's why retirees still end up here. Nevada doesn't tax Social Security. Zero, not a dollar. Healthcare costs run lower than the national average, and the city has more senior services, clinics, and specialists than half the country, because, shockingly, millions of older people already live here. Now picture retirement Vegas, not tourist Vegas. Quiet suburbs, palm trees, grocery stores where nobody's wearing feathers. You wake up, drink coffee on the patio, watch the desert glow pink at sunrise, and the loudest noise is your neighbor's sprinkler system fighting for its life. The downside? Housing is climbing fast. Summer heat feels like the sun filed a personal complaint against you. And yes, temptation is everywhere. If you have poor self-control, Vegas will happily turn your retirement fund into a cautionary tale. Affordable? Technically. Forgiving? Absolutely not. Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh is what happens when a great city accidentally wanders into an affordability list. It's clean, green, educated, packed with hospitals, research centers, and more walking trails than excuses to skip your evening stroll. And the livability score here is high, sitting around 84. Now the numbers. Renters do okay, with monthly costs around $1,069 after Social Security. But homeowners? Buckle up. That number jumps to about $2,037 a month, which means owning here politely asks your retirement budget to start sweating. Still, Raleigh has serious charm. Spring smells like flowers instead of exhaust. Fall looks like a calendar page. There's culture, concerts, museums, and enough universities nearby that the city always feels alive without feeling chaotic. Healthcare access is excellent. Crime stays moderate, and North Carolina doesn't tax Social Security, which quietly saves you hundreds a year. The trade-off is housing. This place has grown fast, really fast. If you already own a paid-off home, Raleigh feels like a dream. If you're buying late in life, Raleigh becomes that beautiful restaurant where you love the menu, but quietly check prices before ordering. Great city, just not the cheapest way to retire. Lakeland, Florida. Lakeland sounds fake, like a retirement community invented by a real estate agent. And yet, here it is. Homeowners average about $1,294 a month after Social Security. Renters land around $1,208. Not dirt cheap, but still under the danger zone. And remember, Florida has no state income tax, so your Social Security check arrives untouched by the state. Now the fun part, Lakeland has 38 named lakes inside city limits, actual lakes, with birds and sunsets, and retirees walking tiny dogs who clearly run the neighborhood. You're perfectly placed between Tampa and Orlando, which means hospitals, airports, and specialists are always close. Healthcare access here is one of the reasons retirees quietly pile in. But let's be honest, Florida heat is not gentle. Summer humidity feels like walking through soup. Insurance prices can jump, And if you don't like snowbirds, congratulations! You just moved into their headquarters. Still, picture this. Morning coffee by the water, palm trees swaying, no state income tax, and your rent still under control. Lakeland isn't flashy, it's comfortable. And sometimes, comfortable wins. Savannah, Georgia. Savannah is unfairly pretty. Spanish moss hanging from oak trees, cobblestone streets, 22 historic public squares that look like movie sets. This city doesn't feel like retirement. It feels like you accidentally moved into a postcard. But beauty costs money. Homeowners average around $1,369 a month after Social Security. Renters about $1,250. Still under the $2,000 line, but noticeably higher than the bargain cities. Why do people pay it? Because Savannah is slow in the best way. You walk everywhere. You sit on benches and judge pigeons. You eat shrimp that taste like they were introduced to butter personally. Georgia doesn't tax Social Security. Healthcare access is strong. Crime stays moderate in the historic core, and the weather is kind to joints that no longer love winter. The downside? Tourism, summer humidity, and housing prices creeping upward because everyone else noticed how magical this place is. Savannah is the city you choose when you want retirement to feel romantic, and you're willing to pay a little extra for the soundtrack. Norfolk, Virginia. Norfolk feels like a working waterfront city that accidentally became a retirement bargain. Homeowners average about $1,231 a month after Social Security. Renters land near $1,162. Livability score sits around 81, which is quietly impressive. This place is anchored by the largest naval base in the world, which means jobs, hospitals, specialists, and infrastructure are everywhere. That military presence keeps the economy stable, the healthcare strong, and the city functioning even when the rest of the country is confused. Now, picture retirement here. Harbor views, ships sliding past your window, cool breezes off the water, morning walks where seagulls judge your posture. Virginia doesn't tax Social Security for most retirees. Healthcare access is excellent. Public transit actually works. And the city gives you beaches, history, and culture without the full Florida price tag. The trade-off? It's a real city. Traffic exists, weather can misbehave, and some neighborhoods age faster than others. But for the money, Norfolk gives you something rare: coastal retirement without coastal bankruptcy. If you're enjoying this list, hit like and subscribe. The next cities are where retirement gets seriously affordable, as in, your check actually stretches affordable. You're not ready for number one. Daytona Beach, Florida. Daytona sounds expensive. Race cars, spring break chaos, tourists with sunburns shaped like maps. And yet, the math quietly works. Homeowners here average about $1,130 a month after Social Security. Renters sit around $1,099. That's beachfront adjacent living without selling a kidney. Now picture the lifestyle: 23 miles of Atlantic shoreline. You wake up to ocean air, you walk the boardwalk, you eat fish that was swimming this morning. And Florida doesn't tax Social Security, so your check shows up untouched and smiling. Healthcare access is solid. Crime stays moderate in the right neighborhoods. And winter feels like a paid vacation. The downside? Tourists, noise, and summer humidity that hugs you like an overly emotional relative. Still, if you've ever wanted to retire where flip-flops are formal wear and your biggest problem is sand in the car, Daytona quietly delivers. Greenville, South Carolina. Greenville is what happens when a postcard learns how to budget. Homeowners land around $1,284 a month after Social Security. Renters about $1,035. And the livability score sits at a confident 82. This city has the rare combo: cute downtown, real hospitals, and actual outdoor life. The 28-mile Swamp Rabbit Trail runs through town, so retirees here accidentally become cyclists just by leaving the house. South Carolina doesn't tax Social Security. Healthcare is strong, crime is polite, and the weather stays friendly to knees that no longer enjoy blizzards. Now, picture retirement here. Brick sidewalks, coffee shops, waterfalls downtown, neighbors who wave and mean it. The only catch? Everyone else noticed. Housing is creeping upward. But right now, Greenville still feels like one of those "how is this still a secret" cities. Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville is Florida's quiet overachiever. Homeowners average about $1,197 a month after Social Security. Renters come in near $1,073, and the livability score hits 84, which is elite territory. This is the largest city in Florida by land area, which means endless neighborhoods, hospitals everywhere, and more beaches than excuses to stay inside. Florida's no tax rule applies here too. No state income tax, no Social Security tax. Your check arrives intact, like it survived a hostage negotiation. Now, imagine retirement, river sunsets, beach mornings, grocery stores with parking, a city big enough for concerts and specialists, but calm enough that nobody's honking at you for existing. The downside? Traffic in some pockets, and summers that test your relationship with air conditioning. But if you want full-service retirement without luxury pricing, Jacksonville quietly becomes a very smart move. Tallahassee, Florida. Tallahassee doesn't look like Florida. That's the trick. Homeowners average $1,248 a month. Renters come in cheaper at $995, and the livability score climbs to a beautiful 85, one of the highest on this list. This place is green, like aggressively green. 76 miles of canopy roads where trees form tunnels over your car. It feels like driving through a screensaver. Healthcare access is excellent thanks to universities and medical centers. Florida doesn't tax Social Security, and the city runs slower than the rest of the state, which your blood pressure will deeply appreciate. Picture retirement here. Morning walks under oak trees, quiet neighborhoods, coffee on the porch while birds argue in the background. The only downside? It's not flashy, no beach in your backyard. But if you want calm, beautiful, affordable Florida without the tourist circus, Tallahassee is a sleeper hit. 6. Pensacola, Florida. Pensacola feels illegal. White sand beaches, blue water, military jets overhead, and the budget still works. Homeowners average about $929 a month after Social Security. Renters around $1,136, and the livability score sits near 83. Florida tax rules apply here too. No state income tax, no Social Security tax. That alone saves you thousands over a decade. This is a Navy town, which means excellent hospitals, steady infrastructure, and an economy that doesn't panic every time the stock market sneezes. The famous Blue Angels literally practice overhead, free air show, daily. Now picture retirement, Gulf sunsets, warm breezes, seafood that ruins frozen fish for you forever. The trade-off? Summer heat, hurricanes, and tourists who don't know sunscreen is not optional. But dollar for dollar, Pensacola might be one of the best beach retirements left in America. 5. Columbia, South Carolina. Columbia doesn't scream retirement hotspot. It whispers it politely and hands you a low rent check. Homeowners here average about $886 a month after Social Security. Renters come in around $1,065, and somehow the city still has a livability score near 79. This place is leafy, calm, southern in the slow, sweet tea way. You've got real hospitals, a major university, and neighborhoods where porch sitting is considered a legitimate sport. South Carolina doesn't tax Social Security. Property taxes stay low. Healthcare access is strong, and winter never tries to kill your joints. Picture retirement here: brick streets, big trees, mornings that smell like coffee instead of traffic. The downside? It's not flashy, no beaches, no neon, no hype. But if your retirement goal is peace, affordability, and a life that feels gently easy, Columbia quietly punches above its weight. 4. El Paso, Texas. El Paso feels like a city that forgot to get expensive. Homeowners average about $712 a month after Social Security. Renters sit near $975, and the livability score climbs to 81, which is wild for a border desert city. This place is drenched in sunlight, mountains in the background, 24,000-acre Franklin Mountain State Park literally inside city limits. You can hike before breakfast and still make it home for oatmeal. Texas doesn't tax Social Security. Healthcare access is solid. Crime stays lower than people expect, and the cost of living sits about 25% below the national average. Now, picture retirement here. Pink desert sunsets, quiet patios, dry heat that doesn't glue your clothes to your body. The downside, it's hot. Like, sun personally hates you hot. But dollar for dollar, El Paso is one of the strongest affordability deals in America. 3. Corpus Christi, Texas. Corpus Christi feels illegal. Homeowners average about $736 a month after Social Security. Renters land around $855, and the livability score hovers near 80. This is a Gulf Coast city, actual beaches, actual sea breezes, and Padre Island National Seashore, with nearly 70 miles of protected coastline right next door. Texas doesn't tax Social Security. Property taxes stay manageable in the right neighborhoods, and seafood becomes a lifestyle choice, not a luxury item. Picture retirement here. Morning walks by the water, pelicans judging your posture, fish tacos replacing antidepressants. The downside, hurricanes, wind, and salt air that slowly murders your car. But retiring near the ocean for under $900 a month? That's not a dream. That's Corpus Christi. Number 2, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee is what happens when a real city accidentally becomes retirement-friendly. Homeowners average about $648 a month after Social Security. Renters come in around $763. That's not affordable. That's suspicious. The livability score sits near 79. Healthcare access is excellent. You've got Lake Michigan sunsets that look fake and breweries older than your knees. Wisconsin doesn't tax Social Security. Property taxes are reasonable for a major metro, and everything from groceries to insurance costs less than the national average. Picture retirement here. Waterfront walks, cozy cafes, snow falling while you watch Netflix and feel superior about your budget. The downside, winter? A lot of winter. But if you can handle snow, Milwaukee gives you one of the best big city retirement deals left in America. Number 1, San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio is the one that breaks the system. Homeowners average about $847 a month after Social Security. Renters come in around $801, and the livability score sits near 80. This is a major city. Real hospitals, real culture, real food, real everything. And Texas doesn't tax Social Security, so your check arrives untouched and unbothered. Now, picture retirement here. Riverwalk mornings, breakfast tacos, palm trees, warm winters, doctors within 10 minutes. Crime stays moderate in the right neighborhoods. Healthcare access is elite, and your money stretches like it's on a yoga retreat. The downside? Heat. Property taxes, growth. But if you want the best mix of affordability, lifestyle, healthcare, and city energy, San Antonio quietly wins the entire list. So here's the truth: nobody puts in retirement brochures. The best places to retire aren't the flashy ones. They're the cities where your money finally stops panicking. If one of these towns surprised you, hit like, subscribe for more lists that protect your future, and tell me in the comments where you'd actually move. Your retirement shouldn't feel like survival mode. It should feel like peace.